Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we're diving deep into one of the most unexpectedly fascinating pieces of modern American coinage, one that hides a surprising story behind a shining face that millions of people walk past every single day. This is the story of the United States of America's 1987 Roosevelt dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint. It's small, it's familiar, and most people think it's worth just 10 cents, nothing more. But as collectors around the world have discovered, this little dime can hold a value that goes far beyond pocket change. Before we explore why this coin has captured the attention of collectors, we have to return to the very beginning, the moment when the idea for the Roosevelt dime was only a thought in the minds of those who wanted to honor a leader. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the man whose image appears on this dime, led America through the Great Depression and most of World War II. When he passed away in 1945, the country felt the loss deeply. Just months later, the United States Mint announced it would redesign the dime to honor Roosevelt's legacy, particularly his support for the March of Dimes, the organization dedicated to combating polio. Since 1946, the Roosevelt dime has become one of the most familiar coins in circulation. It's in your pockets, your car cup holders, your laundry machines, and your forgotten drawers. Even now, nearly 80 years later, its design remains nearly unchanged. Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Now fast forward to the late 1980s. The year is 1987, and the United States Mint is operating at full speed. The Philadelphia Mint, easily recognized by its P Mint mark beginning in 1980, is busy producing millions upon millions of dimes for circulation. To the average citizen, nothing about the 1987 P. Roosevelt dime seems special at all. It's a common coin, ordinary by all appearances. But as any seasoned coin collector knows, sometimes the most remarkable treasures are hidden in plain sight. The 1987 P dime stands out not because of an error, not because of a rare metal composition, and not because of an unusual design. Instead, its fame comes from the world of condition rarity. This is where tiny coins take on massive significance, and one small detail can transform a piece of pocket change into a valuable collector's prize. To understand why, imagine for a moment the life of a typical dime minted in Philadelphia in 1987. It might have rolled down the metal chute at the mint, stacked with thousands like it, and then been bagged and shipped out into the world. From there, it might have passed through countless hands, cash registers, coin jars, parking meters, and arcade machines. In the process, its surfaces would have been exposed to scratches, dings, friction, moisture, and oils, the everyday wear that destroys any hope of retaining perfection. That is why finding a Roosevelt dime from this year in flawless condition is so incredibly rare. Collectors seek out coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC. These grading companies examine every microscopic detail: the shine, the luster, the strikes, the tiny imperfections invisible to the naked eye. Most dimes from 1987 are found in grades far below perfection because they've lived hard lives. But a tiny handful escaped into the world in pristine, almost immaculate condition. This is where the story becomes truly exciting. One such 1987 P. Roosevelt dime, preserved with exceptional care and carrying an astonishing grading designation, caught the attention of collectors and eventually captivated the numismatic community with its unexpected rise in value. And what makes this even more interesting is that coins like this were never intended to be rare or expensive. They were simply minted by the millions as circulating currency. Yet through miraculous preservation, whether intentionally saved or forgotten in a sealed mint bag, it achieved a status few could ever imagine. Collectors today prize this coin because of its extremely high grade, its brilliant surfaces, and the near-perfect preservation that defies the odds. When a coin receives a grade near the highest level, especially for a modern circulating coin, its value can skyrocket. The demand grows as collectors compete for the best examples, driving the price to extraordinary levels. In the case of the 1987 P. Roosevelt dime, the existence of a top-graded example created excitement that rippled through collector circles. News spread, coin forums buzzed, and numismatic enthusiasts began searching their collections, hopeful to find one of their own. And while many collectors discovered circulated versions worth only face value, the handful preserved in extraordinary condition became stars of the numismatic world. Picture a collector at an auction, heart racing, paddle in hand, eyes fixed on the lot number. As the bidding opens, it starts modestly. But with each new bid, the room grows tense. Collectors glance at each other knowingly, understanding they are witnessing something special. The auctioneer's voice climbs in energy. The numbers leap past hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands. A hush falls over the room as the realization sets in: this is no ordinary dime. This is history preserved. The final hammer price leaves everyone stunned. A single dime, a coin worth 10 cents at birth, has just sold for more money than many people earn in an entire year. What makes this moment even more fascinating is that it reflects a broader truth about coin collecting. The world of numismatics thrives on rarity, condition, history, and passion. A coin doesn't need to be ancient or made of gold to be valuable. Sometimes all it takes is perfection that survived against all odds, and that brings us to the heart of this video: understanding the worth of the 1987 P. Roosevelt dime, not just as currency, but as a collector's treasure. Many viewers at home might be holding a small jar of coins right now, coins collected from change over the years. And it's entirely possible, though unlikely, that a stunningly well-preserved example could be hidden among them. This chance, however slim, is what fuels the excitement for collectors everywhere. A coin like this represents far more than money. It's a snapshot of American history, a reminder of the era that produced it, and a connection to the story of Roosevelt himself. It's also a symbol of how everyday objects can hold extraordinary value when preserved with care. To truly appreciate this, imagine looking at the coin under magnification. The details become mesmerizing: the fine texture of Roosevelt's hair, the crisp lines along the torch, the delicate veins of the olive and oak branches. On a perfect example, the surfaces glow with frosty luster, untouched by time. There are no scratches. No marks. No signs of wear. Just pure, flawless craftsmanship. Most people have never held such a coin in their hands. Most never will. And that rarity alone is what fascinates collectors. Because in the world of numismatics, rarity plus condition equals value. We step into a story that blends American history, numismatic mystery, and the pure thrill of treasure hunting. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector, a curious enthusiast, or someone who just loves learning about rare valuables hiding in plain sight, this video is made just for you. Because in your pocket change, your old piggy bank, or even in that dusty jar sitting on a shelf, there might be a tiny silver-colored circle worth far more than its face value, one dime that could transform into a life-changing discovery. And the star of today's story, the 1996 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime. Yes, an everyday coin so common that most people overlook it, yet under the right conditions, it has been known to reach astonishing value in the collector's market. This is not just any coin. It's part of a legacy that stretches back to one of the most influential presidents in American history. It carries a minting story that reveals how modern coins can still become rare treasures. And if you stay with me through this full video, you'll discover why one particular example of the 1996 D Roosevelt dime has sold for an unbelievable amount of money, how to identify the rare features that make it special, and how you might be able to find one yourself. Before we speak about the value, rarity, and extraordinary sale price of the 1996 D dime, we must step back in time, into the story of the Roosevelt dime itself. The United States introduced the Roosevelt dime in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. His leadership during World War II and his role in supporting the March of Dimes charity made him the perfect figure to honor on the 10-cent coin. His profile, inspired by Americans' admiration for his strength and persistence, has remained unchanged for decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Fast forward to 1996. America was buzzing with technological innovation, pop culture evolution, and a booming economy. It also marked the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, and the U.S. Mint commemorated that moment in special ways. While the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced millions of regular circulation dimes, San Francisco created special collector versions. But even ordinary 1,996 dimes, coins minted for daily use, held surprises that would later catch the attention of the numismatic world. The Denver Mint, known for its D mint mark, produced over 1 billion dimes that year. With a production number so high, you might assume that no single one could ever become rare or sought after. But in the world of coin collecting, perfection is powerful. A seemingly common coin can become a gem when preserved flawlessly, struck sharply, or minted with distinctive visual characteristics that set it apart from the rest. That is the case with the legendary 1996 D Roosevelt dime that shocked collectors with its eye-opening value. Let's imagine, for a moment, that you're going through your spare change. Maybe you're counting coins for a laundry run. Maybe you're cleaning out a drawer. You pick up a handful of dimes, and your eyes land on one with the year 1996. You flip it over and see the unmistakable D mint mark. Suddenly, that little coin seems more interesting than before. The truth is, most 1996 D dimes are worth only face value. They're everywhere. Millions exist. But in the rarest of cases, a single coin, produced under the same minting machines, in the same year, at the same mint, can become a numismatic superstar. What makes the difference? Condition. Strike. Luster. Preservation. Perfection. The highest graded coins, those that appear as if they rolled straight from the minting press into a protective holder without ever being touched by human hands, command prices that most people can hardly believe. That's what happened with the famous 1996 D Roosevelt dime that soared to a record price. Experts describe it as being in impeccable condition, the kind of coin that captures light with mirror-like brilliance, where every line of Roosevelt's profile appears crisp, every letter sharp, every reed on the edge perfectly defined. It is the kind of coin collectors dream about finding, even if just once in a lifetime. But how do you recognize such quality? If you're checking your own dime, look for full, sharp details on Roosevelt's hair, cheek, and lettering, brilliant, undamaged surfaces free of scratches or dullness, no signs of wear, even slight wear from circulation, exceptional strike clarity, meaning the coin looks bold, clean, and fresh, strong mint luster, the natural sheen produced during minting. Coins that meet these criteria and undergo professional grading may receive extremely high scores, sometimes even near perfect or perfect grades. And those coins can reach values that leave collectors stunned. That's exactly what led one remarkable example of the 1996 D dime to command a price that people still talk about today. Coin collectors, known as numismatists, are always searching for the next discovery, the next treasure, the next piece of history preserved in metal. Modern coins rarely achieve legendary status. But when they do, they dominate headlines. The 1996 D Roosevelt dime that astonished the coin community became famous because it wasn't just rare, it was exceptionally rare in condition. The grading company that evaluated it recognized it as an elite example, far above nearly all others of its kind. That certification transformed what looked like an ordinary 10-cent coin into a monumental collectible. Auction houses described bidding enthusiasts who had prepared for months, watching for an opportunity to own a piece of modern coin perfection. When the dime finally went under the hammer, excitement built with every call of increasing bids. All eyes were on that little silver coin, and whispers filled the room about how high the price might climb. A simple dime, a tiny piece of pocket change, sold for a price so stunning, so unexpected, that people still reference it when discussing incredible modern coin finds. Everything. We're diving deep into the world of the United States Roosevelt dime, specifically the 2017 P mint mark issue, a coin that millions of Americans have touched without realizing that some rare examples have shocked collectors, stunned auction rooms, and climbed to breathtaking values. Yes, this humble dime has a story worth far more than its face value. Let's begin with something most people don't even realize. The year 2017 marks a special moment in U.S. mint history. For decades, circulation coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark at all. Coins from Denver have their familiar D, those from San Francisco carry their S, but Philadelphia's coins usually stayed anonymous. Yet in 2017, to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint, a tiny piece suddenly appeared on the obverse of several denominations, including the Roosevelt dime. That small p became a little spark of excitement among collectors, a subtle nod to mint history, and a fun twist for everyday pocket change. Even though hundreds of millions of 2017 Roosevelt dimes were minted, the sudden appearance of the P mark created curiosity. People began checking their change again. School kids, longtime collectors, casual hobbyists, they were all searching. Internet forums lit up, coin rolls started flying off the shelves, and YouTube channels dedicated to coin hunting started getting flooded with questions. What's special about the 2017 P dime? Is it rare? Is it valuable? And most importantly, what should people be looking for? To understand why some examples of this coin have gained significant value, you need to know how coin grading works. Most coins come out of the mint covered in microscopic scrapes from the high-speed machinery used to produce them. They fall into large bins, bounce around against each other, and develop contact marks before they ever reach your pocket. That's why circulation coins rarely achieve extremely high grades. But a few, just a tiny handful, manage to survive the minting process in near-perfect, pristine condition. These super high-grade survivors are the ones grading companies such as PCGS and NGC classify with special labels like MS67, MS68, even MS69 under rare circumstances. For modern coins, these high grades are incredibly tough to achieve. And that's where the story of the 2017 Roosevelt dime turns from ordinary to extraordinary. The Philadelphia Mint struck more than 1 billion of these dimes in 2017. But coins that grade in the absolute top tier, a sharp strike, flawless surfaces, no distracting marks, and a brilliant, clean appearance, are unbelievably scarce. Imagine a coin that went through massive industrial machinery, transported in bins with thousands of others, yet survived without a single meaningful blemish. Those are the unicorns of the minting world. Now, among this sea of 2017 P Roosevelt dimes, a few special examples were submitted to professional grading services and came back with grades so high, so pristine, that they instantly grabbed the attention of serious collectors. These coins don't just benefit from the high grade, they benefit from historic demand. The coin community was already excited about the first year the P mint mark appeared on the Roosevelt dime, which added an extra layer of collectability. Combine that excitement with a top population grade, and you get a situation where collectors compete aggressively to own one of the finest known examples. To put this into perspective, think of a classic sports card. Millions might be printed, but only a tiny handful remain in gem mint condition decades later. The same logic applies here. While the average 2017 P dime you find in your change is worth 10 cents, a spectacular, flawless, museum-quality version could ignite a bidding war among top collectors. But what drives these prices so high? It comes down to rarity at the absolute highest grade. Collectors don't just want a nice coin, they want the finest known. The premier example. The superstar coin that sits at the top of the population report. When a grading company reveals that only 1 or 2 examples of a certain modern coin achieve near-perfect condition, demand skyrockets. Picture this: the auction room grows quiet, the bidding begins slowly, and before long, paddle after paddle shoots up. The price climbs, climbing past what seems reasonable, climbing into unbelievable numbers. The crowd watches as 2 or 3 determined bidders fight fiercely because they know they may never get another chance to own such a pristine coin. The hammer falls, and suddenly, a coin that most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the ground becomes a headline, and that's exactly what happened with the 2017 P Roosevelt dime. A special example, graded superbly high, earning nearly perfect marks, crossed the auction block and shocked the collecting world with a value that left viewers stunned. A modern 10-cent piece, struck in massive numbers, yet preserved in such remarkable condition that it stood out as a true treasure. A dime that took a leap into the realm usually reserved for key-date classics, vintage rarities, and historic mint errors. But before we reveal the famous figure attached to this coin, there's one more piece of context you'll want to understand. Coin collectors divide value into 3 major categories: rarity, demand, and condition. Rarity refers to how many top-graded examples exist. Demand comes from the historical significance of this being the first Roosevelt dime carrying the Philadelphia mint mark. And condition, well, that's the magic ingredient here. Without the almost impossibly pristine condition, this dime would simply be another common modern coin. Interestingly, the coin collecting market has seen a major rise in interest for modern high-grade coins over the past decade. People love the thrill of searching through everyday pocket change or coin rolls and imagining that a small overlooked treasure might be hiding inside. The 2017 P dime became a symbol of that hope, a reminder that you don't need to search ancient ruins or remote treasure sites to find something valuable. Sometimes, the treasure might be hiding in your own wallet, purse, or dresser drawer. Now imagine a collector who bought several rolls of 2017 dimes back when they first came out. Maybe they saved them out of curiosity, or maybe they simply forgot about them. Years later, they take a closer look, send a few exceptional ones off for grading, and suddenly one of them comes back at an extraordinary grade. With that grade comes rarity. With rarity comes collector excitement. And with that excitement comes skyrocketing value. This narrative of modern coin discovery is one of the reasons coin hunting channels, auctions, and numismatic communities have continued to grow. People love stories of overlooked items becoming valuable, and few stories capture that excitement like the 2017 P Roosevelt dime's moment in the spotlight. Now let's set the scene for the grand reveal. The auction room was buzzing, and collectors from across the country tuned in online. Many expected the coin to do well, maybe a few $1,000s, maybe more, but nothing could have prepared them for what happened next. As the bidding climbed higher and higher, the audience felt the tension rise. Even seasoned collectors were whispering, stunned by the rapid escalation. When the final bid landed, you could feel the shock ripple through the numismatic world. A Roosevelt dime, minted in 2017, worth 10 cents face value, brought an incredible total. This wasn't an ancient artifact or a colonial-era rarity. This was a modern U.S. coin, stamped just a few years ago, yet elevated to elite numismatic status because of unmatched quality. Journey is not about a centuries-old rarity. It is not about an exotic minting error forged in the heat of a long-forgotten mint. Instead, it's about something hiding in plain sight, small, humble, easily overlooked. We're talking about the 2019 D-Mint Mark Roosevelt one-dime coin, a coin most Americans have handled without even a passing thought. Yet one of these common 10-cent pieces shocked collectors by reaching an extraordinary hammer price, turning a simple pocket change item into a numismatic celebrity. Before we uncover what made that particular coin so valuable, and why its final auction value created such a buzz, let's rewind and understand what the 2019 D-Dime really is, how it came to be, and why collectors suddenly found themselves looking at loose change with renewed excitement. The Roosevelt dime has been circulating in the United States since 1946, introduced as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, commemorating his leadership and his legacy with the March of Dimes campaign. Over the decades, the design has remained consistent, the left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 2019, the coin had already seen over 70 years of uninterrupted production. Because of that, most collectors viewed it as a common circulating denomination, useful for vending machines, laundry, and parking meters, but rarely the focus of treasure hunts. After all, modern dimes don't contain silver, and millions upon millions are minted every year. So why would anyone care about a 2019 dime? The story changes the moment we focus on a single word: condition. Collectors of modern coins chase perfection, absolute, undeniable perfection. And as simple as that sounds, perfection is astonishingly rare. Even though tens of millions of dimes roll out of the Denver Mint in 2019, only a tiny fraction escape the mint without bag marks, contact scuffs, microscopic scratches, or tiny flaws. When a coin is fresh from the mint, it doesn't float gently into a protective capsule. Instead, it crashes against thousands of other coins inside large metal bins. They bounce, slide, scrape, and collide as they travel along conveyor belts and drop into heavy containers. Even brand new coins suffer damage long before they ever reach circulation. A collector hopes to find a survivor, a coin that somehow avoided the chaos. This is where professional grading enters the story. Third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade on the Sheldon scale, ranging from 1 to 70. A grade of 70, called perfect mint state, means the coin shows no post-production marks visible under 5x magnification. It is the peak of precision, the pinnacle of quality, and the dream of every collector. For the 2019 D. Roosevelt dime, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions, yet among that avalanche of coins, one stood above the rest. A single dime received the almost mythical grade of MS-70. This wasn't simply high quality. It wasn't even one of the best. It was the best, full stop, the cleanest, sharpest, most flawless example known to collectors at the time. When this perfect specimen appeared at auction, collectors immediately recognized its potential. Modern coins are a unique niche in numismatics. The mint makes so many that only examples with exceptional grading scores stand out. And when the population report shows that there is only one known example at the highest possible grade, a race begins. Why do collectors fight so hard for a coin worth 10 cents at face value? The answer lies in rarity of condition. While rarity in age or metal content is one kind of scarcity, rarity in perfection is another, and one that wealthy collectors often value just as highly. If they want the finest known examples of every denomination, every date, every mint mark, they must compete fiercely for the top populations. And since only one 2019 D dime had reached that flawless MS-70 grade, its value skyrocketed. When the bidding began, there was curiosity. As the price climbed past hundreds, then thousands, spectators realized they were witnessing something special. The final hammer fell with a number almost unbelievable to casual observers. What had started as a small, everyday dime, the kind that might easily slip beneath a car seat or vanish behind a pocket flap, had become a modern treasure. The most fascinating part of this story isn't just the price. It's the reminder that numismatic value can emerge anywhere. Coins that appear ordinary can become extraordinary when condition intersects with rarity. Because so many collectors overlook modern circulating coins, it is entirely possible that exceptional examples lie unrecognized in rolls from the bank or in jars of spare change at home. Consider the production of the 2019 D dime. Denver minted tens of millions, creating huge potential for minor variations, tiny imperfections, and unusual quirks. Most of these flaws hurt value. But a tiny number, sometimes only one, can rise above the rest due to flawless preservation, crisp detailing, and immaculate luster. Even though the massive value is tied to a unique population 1 grade, the story revitalized interest in modern denominations. It inspired new collectors to begin roll searching and encouraged seasoned collectors to take a second look at coins they once considered unremarkable. People realized that a dime minted just a few years ago could turn out to be the key that unlocks surprising profit, if found in pristine condition and submitted for grading. This phenomenon is not limited to the 2019 D dime. In recent years, the numismatic world has seen several modern coins, pennies, nickels, quarters, even commemoratives, reach impressive auction results because they achieved a top, unmatched grade. In each case, the coin's value wasn't tied to scarcity of production but scarcity of perfection. Of course, finding a perfect dime in pocket change is extremely unlikely. Such coins are usually discovered in mint-sealed bags or freshly issued rolls that have never been handled. Even then, it requires tremendous luck to find a coin free of contact marks. And grading fees mean collectors usually gamble only on coins they believe stand a chance at high grades. What makes this story so captivating is the contrast between the coin's humble nature and its exceptional result. A dime is perhaps the most unassuming American coin. It is small, lightweight, and often forgotten. Yet, through the meticulous eyes of grading experts and the competitive passion of collectors, even this tiny coin can become the star of an auction stage. The 2019 D. Roosevelt dime that achieved perfection carries a message. Hidden value isn't just found in old coins or rare mint errors. Sometimes, it's found in the objects we use every day, the ones jingling in our pockets or tossed into tip jars. With the right combination of circumstance, condition, and collector demand, even the smallest coin can become a centerpiece of numismatic history. As collectors look into their coin jars now, the thrill of possibility lingers. They wonder whether a nearly flawless dime might be waiting there, untouched, unnoticed. They wonder whether the next world-class example could be hiding in an overlooked roll from the bank. They wonder whether they, too, might hold a little disc of metal that could command a life-changing price. The 2019 D. Roosevelt dime stands as a symbol of that possibility. It reminds us that coins are not merely instruments of commerce, they are tiny snapshots of time, pieces of craftsmanship, tokens that travel through countless hands, each with the potential to tell a story. Some stories are ordinary, but others, like this one, are extraordinary. Today, settle in, because this is going to be a deep dive into one of the most unexpected modern treasures hiding in pockets, drawers, coin jars, and old coffee cans across the United States. We are going to explore the story, the history, the details, and the surprising collector excitement surrounding the 2021 D. Mint Mark Roosevelt dime. That is right, a coin you might have unconsciously spent at a gas station, tossed into a tip jar, or forgotten in a desk tray may actually have a fascinating world behind it and, in some cases, the potential for astonishing value. Today, we are peeling back every layer of this modest 10-cent piece, revealing why collectors pay attention to certain examples and what makes a rare few of them unbelievably valuable. Now, before we begin exploring the numismatic side of things, let's take a moment to remember just what makes the Roosevelt dime so important in American coinage. First issued in 1946, the dime honors President Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his relentless fight against polio. His leadership inspired the creation of the March of Dimes, and after his passing, the dime became a natural tribute. The design has remained largely unchanged since then, which means modern dimes still connect to that legacy of courage, public health advancement, and national unity. Even though it is one of the smallest coins in circulation, it carries a powerful symbolic weight. Fast forward to 2021, a year that brought renewed enthusiasm to coin collecting. The Denver Mint, known for producing billions of circulating coins each year, struck a tremendous number of Roosevelt dimes as usual. Most of them are perfectly ordinary, destined for everyday commerce. But as collectors know well, even in years of massive production, anomalies exist. They are incredibly rare, often unexpected, and they draw serious attention from experts who hunt for special characteristics that separate a common dime from a standout specimen. And that brings us to the 2021 D dime we are discussing today. To truly understand why certain 2021 Denver dimes have become the focus of collector fascination, we need to explore what drives value in coin collecting. It is never just the date and mint mark alone. Instead, value grows from a combination of condition, rarity, errors, demand, and the overall presence of visual or mechanical features that separate one coin from millions of others. Sometimes it is an unusual strike. Sometimes it is a minting error. Sometimes it is a perfectly preserved specimen that never entered circulation. And occasionally, it is a combination of multiple traits that forces collectors to compete in bidding wars. The Denver Mint is known for precise and high-volume production, but even with superb machinery, the Mint occasionally releases coins with striking abnormalities. These errors usually occur in fleeting moments where machinery misaligns, feeding systems malfunction, planchets shift, or dies interact in ways they were never meant to. When this happens, a tiny fraction of coins can take on unexpected characteristics that instantly make them appealing to collectors. So among the millions of 2021 D. Roosevelt dimes out there, only a very few carry such special attributes. Now let's imagine one of these coins sitting unnoticed in a handful of change. Someone might toss it on the kitchen counter without realizing that the surface, the edges, or the shine tells a story. Perhaps the strike is extraordinarily sharp, with razor-clear details on Roosevelt's hair, the torch, the olive branches, and the lettering. Perhaps the luster is completely untouched, as if the coin were frozen in time at the moment it left the press. Or perhaps the dime shows a dramatic error, something visually striking enough to make a collector's heart beat a little faster. When such coins enter the grading process, especially through reputable services like PCGS or NGC, their true potential becomes visible to the world. A high grade such as MS68 or MS69 can instantly transform a 10-cent coin into a showpiece worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. But when a coin pushes beyond even these expectations, breaking into the highest ranks of modern mint perfection or displaying an exceptionally dramatic error, it can cross into the realm of legendary finds. Collectors love modern rarities, especially when they break record prices. And this is exactly where the 2021 D Roosevelt dime truly shines. Not all coins from this year are special, of course. The majority of them are worth exactly 10 cents. But there exists a very small number with extraordinary characteristics, and one of these examples stunned the collecting community by reaching an incredible price at auction. For anyone casually flipping through their pocket change, this is the kind of headline that makes you pause and wonder just how many hidden treasures might be circulating unnoticed. Imagine how this story might unfold. A collector at a coin show lifts a dime under good lighting, tilts it carefully, checks the fields and devices for marks, then realizes the coin's surfaces are nearly flawless. Every detail is crisp, the luster flows smoothly, and the overall presentation is exceptionally striking. The coin goes in for professional grading. Anticipation builds. The result returns with a nearly unattainable grade. Suddenly the coin becomes a superstar among modern mint issues. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes, modern series, high-grade coins, or Denver mint rarities all want it. And once competition begins, prices climb rapidly. It is easy to underestimate the emotional component of collecting. Many collectors have spent decades searching for specific pieces, trying to build sets that represent the full history of American coinage. A single missing piece with a top-tier grade can hold back the entire set. So when a rare, high-grade, modern Roosevelt dime appears, it ignites bidding battles that are just as intense as those surrounding older, more famous coins. Some collectors love the challenge of modern perfection. Others love the thrill of acquiring something almost nobody else has. And that is why certain examples skyrocket in value. Now let us talk about the story that made major waves in the hobby. One particular 2021 D Roosevelt dime, carrying traits that placed it far beyond the ordinary, drew extraordinary attention and achieved a remarkable price at a major auction event. This was not a coin from a century ago. It was not made of silver or gold. It was not a special commemorative release. It was a modern 10-cent piece struck just a few years ago, and yet it commanded a value that would astonish almost anyone outside the collecting world. A modern coin reaching this level does more than create headlines. It reinvigorates interest in collecting. It sends people to their change jars. It sparks new discussions online. It encourages new collectors to learn about grading, minting errors, and preservation. And most importantly, it reminds everyone that extraordinary treasures can sometimes come from the most ordinary places. Coins that appear unremarkable at first glance may hold stories, details, or features that transform them into special and highly coveted pieces. The excitement around the 2021 D dime also shows how dynamic the world of modern numismatics is becoming. Today's collectors do not only chase historic coins or precious metals. They chase quality, rarity, strike sharpness, visual appeal, and the thrill of discovering something unusual in common circulation. Modern United States coinage remains a living, changing landscape, full of surprises for those who take the time to look closely. And because so many people overlook their pocket change, the potential for discovery remains strong. If you are a collector, whether experienced or just starting, the story of the extraordinary 2021 D Roosevelt dime offers a powerful lesson. Always check your coins. Always study the details. Do not assume that a coin minted just a few years ago cannot be valuable. The world of coins is full of surprises, and some of the biggest breakthroughs come from coins people least expect.